Here is my take for today, entitled, "The Americans are holding a mirror to our faces." A report from members of the U.S. House of Representatives last week has been generating quite a lot of interest among us Nigerians, especially with some of the audacious and controversial aspects of that document. This was a report in which members of the U.S. Congress are saying that China is backing some ethnic militias who are behind the killings in the country, because such is facilitating the illegal mining in Nigeria by the Chinese. There are other worrying aspects of the report indeed. But one thing we cannot but be grateful for is the fact that the U.S. President, Mr. Donald Trump, and the American Congress, they have managed to raise the stakes on the persistent insecurity and killings in Nigeria like never before on a global scale. Before the intervention of the Americans, we were at the point of almost getting used to this level of insecurity. We were becoming desensitized to the violence. Before then, deaths, especially in Benue and Plateau, have gone on with very little critical attention to really confront it. We are even getting used to the idea of banditry in the northwestern part of the country and settling for up today, down tomorrow in the fight against terrorism in the northeast. We were erroneously calling the killings in the middle belt part of the country a question of farmer-herders clashes, and we all but ignored the cries of the people in that part of the country suggesting genocide, land and spatial takeover. We were ignoring it. Our president, including one under which I served, for which I'm embarrassed, promised to deal with the situation one after the other, one president after the other. But then, it has always been a case of up today, down tomorrow. In the end, the killings persisted and communities were devastated. Families, many of them in their thousands, still mourning and mourning, blood all over the place. Now, on this show, at least on 2 or 3 occasions, I had to be listing out the names of people who were killed in their homes or on their farms by assailants who seemed set to deprive them of their homestead and farmlands. The suffering of our people seemed to be unending, and the consequences against this despicable evil were basically absent when it is not underwhelming. And then suddenly, President Donald Trump and the Americans added their strong voices, and the Americans started flexing their muscles around the question of Christian persecution. Aha! Then our leaders woke up. Not that they were unaware, but the seriousness was placed now again on the front burner because of the intervention of the Americans. The Americans are only showing us a mirror to our faces, the kind that we cannot ignore, one from which we cannot look away, like we were getting used to, sadly. So what's my take? If this will end or even significantly curb the killings, I am all for it. That means I am all for the American intervention if it will help us to end the killings. The latest thing that happened this past week, like I was saying in the beginning, was that now the Americans, through the U.S. Congress, they are taking a deeper dive, exposing secrets that are normally discussed in hushed tones behind the scenes. They are saying the Chinese are funding ethnic militias in Nigeria's killing field in order for them to access our rare earth minerals. This is what the Americans are saying. Also, they said that we need to replace Russian military equipment with American ones now that the U.S. government is actively helping us in this existential fight against the terrorists and the extreme violence that is all over the place. What options, what choices do we have? The military even said that this is all going to be free. The U.S. are flexing their muscles And I am one to say we need the Americans, but our government needs all the diplomatic panache and the wizardry to manage the situation. We need the Americans, but we need to keep our eyes wide open. This is no time for mediocrity or job for the boys. Mr. President, we depend on God, but we rely on you. Don't fail our hands. Gather the best diplomatic wizardry that is available in Nigeria to help you manage these very tough and challenging diplomatic issues. Let me say it again. We rely on you, Mr. President. The buck stops at your desk. We need the Americans, but the Americans are flexing their muscles in a way that will require a lot of wisdom and dexterity. But we have it in our DNA in Nigeria to be able to manage such delicate situations. We have done it before diplomatically.